Hey, Flimsy Lunch Tray here with you in our Friday edition video here in Northern Waters in Domination mode. And today we're going to be talking about the Ohio. I'm not going to be reading anything from the WoW's wiki. Instead I have some of my own things I want to share just before we get into battle here, which isn't going to take too long. But we are in the Tier 10 American battleship, the Ohio, which you obtain through the Research Bureau, using Research Bureau points, if you will. And I have to say I am in love with the Ohio. I have 16 random battles in with her, and I think probably over 10 to 15 battles with her in brawls. I'm just loving it. I think I'm actually falling in love more with Ohio than the Massachusetts, but we'll have to see here. Okay, so let's talk about the Ohio. The closest ship in my mind that I can compare her to would actually be the Montana. The Tier 10 American battleship Montana on tech tree. It is the same hull, you have the same health pool. So those of you who like playing Montana, enjoy playing Montana, you really love Ohio. The differences come down to her secondaries, her main battery, and I would also argue the AA is slightly better here on Ohio, and the rudder shift time is better on Ohio. We have 18 seconds on the rudder shift time. We're on Montana, it's 22 seconds, but you can get the rudder shift time down on Montana to like 15 if you take the legendary module in slot 5. The accuracy on the Ohio with the main battery is better than that of the Montana with the maximum horizontal dispersion and maximum vertical dispersion. If you take the artillery plotting modification 2, it is better than Montana, even if you take that same 6 slot upgrade on the Montana. Here in this video, we are working with the main battery modification 3, which reloads your main battery even faster. So we have a pretty vicious reload time here with the Ohio. The Ohio, with the guns in comparison to the Montana, you have 8 457mm guns here on Montana, or on Ohio you have 12 406mm guns. But with these 457mm guns, you can crush through the deck of something like a Salem and Des Moines and get a Citadel, and it is just wonderful because they're not able to bounce that at all. So what I like about the Ohio is that it's this brawling battleship with fantastic secondaries in the game, but also she has not only these larger caliber guns, basically 18-inch guns or 17.99 inch, but that they're also accurate big guns. So if you are a brawler and maybe you've been really enjoying the Preußen, you might enjoy the Ohio that much more, but I'm going to have a comparison video on those two later on. But the Ohio is just a savage between her secondaries, her main battery guns. One of the things that she shares with her two sister ships in the game, the Tier 8 Massachusetts, the Tier 9 Georgia, is this 40-second cooldown time on her repair party. So that saves your bacon a lot with these ships when you're trying to get into these brawling situations. So here in this battle, as we finish off the Salem, we have a lot of the enemy on this flank are playing really aggressive, so there's really no need for me to push up because they're pushing into me. So we're working this Massachusetts now over with our secondaries. When playing, if you saw the video last week, you kind of saw this submarine on this flank. It pretty much shut me down pretty early into the battle, so then I did it again too. Moving up, I didn't know where the submarine was, so I was just going to take my time. And I can see that he's in Bravo. So what's nice with the ships is working around the islands, and you're going to see me work around these islands a lot here in dealing with this flank, because like now you can see I'm fighting the Alaska in the Massachusetts, but I'm not even detected. And that's really nice. So there's no need to sacrifice our health pool if there is no need to, right? Part of the battle sometimes is just saving your health pool for later on, where even something like 100 HP can make be the difference between life and death. If you take that additional 100 HP damage, it kills you later on. And I'm kind of hinting at something that's going to happen later on in the game. So this Alaska is giving us a lot of broadside. Wherever secondary is working Alaska over. I've been hoping to get citadels to wreck through the Alaska's broadside and just showing too much angle. But we haven't been that lucky. The Massachusetts, you could argue I'm showing too much side to, but I'm not really concerned about the Massachusetts guns. You saw we didn't really take any damage from as much side as we were showing the Massachusetts. So we're gonna move our rear turrets onto the Massachusetts. Something you often be doing with your turret angles, I was focusing on Alaska, and then my rear turrets, I can't shoot Alaska in this angle, right? So then finding another target to shoot with your rear turrets, it's really good because you want to be keeping these guns in action. Once we finish off the Massachusetts here, I'll probably talk a little bit more about the artillery plotting room modification 2 or the main battery modification 3 and giving you my thoughts between the two of them. So we have Halsey on here, so if we unlock Confederates, we get our reload time reduced. And so if you pair that with the main battery modification 3, if you get Confederate with Halsey, you can have a vicious reload time. This is pretty much a wet dream right now. We have the Salem and the Talon both pushing into Bravo, and they are showing a lot of broadside. We don't lead the Salem enough, so we're going to rectify that on this next salvo. But I'm not using my repair party right now because I want that little bit of buff with the adrenaline rush for my main battery guns to reload that much quicker. That's something you often might see players do in YouTube videos. I think there's even a video of Jingles was showing like a Minotaur, and he's basically not using his heal just to get his reload time down that much quicker. And that's why I'm not worried about using the repair party just yet. We just have a Sherman somewhere in the flank. We saw there's a Montana moving along the G line, maybe back towards this direction. But for now, our intention is focusing here on this Talon. One of the things you can do if players are playing with the throttle forwards in reverse is just space out your shots like I did. So I led some in case he kept going forward, and then you saw how the last salvo I fired, we drew it back, and we did some massive damage there with just one Citadel alone. Your maximum AP damage with the Ohio is over 15,000. Can't remember the exact number, but I know that it is more than the Yamato. The Yamato is like 14,800, possibly. So when you get a Citadel, you're going to do a little bit more damage than the Yamato. The Yamato with the legendary upgrade and stuff is still more accurate than the Ohio, if you take that artillery plotting room mod 2 in the 6th slot. So Yamato is still the kingpin when it comes to accuracy in that sense in comparison to the Ohio. But you can get some really vicious salvos here with the accuracy that you have. The AA, I reference this, it's just very slightly better than the Montana, just by a little bit. Not a whole bunch, I think it's just maybe just 1 or 2. But you're going to see me wrecking this Lexington, just a tier 8 CV, as we just wreck 10 planes there. Don't even have to worry about him striking us. So when you're facing a tier 8 CV, you can pretty much easily handle their planes. As we push up, you saw I went ahead and used the heal. I knew I was about to engage this Montana, and also the Sherman here. We have our secondaries working over the Sherman. What I don't want to happen here with the Sherman is I don't want him to get away or smoke up here, because then he's just going to be able to farm me with his ridiculous DPM, these 3 guns that reload at 1.5 seconds, and I think you can even get those down shorter with his HE and SAP. So I really want him dead before he's able to smoke up. As we move up and we're dealing with this Montana, and a duel between Ohio and Montana, I feel very comfortable. But here it's not simply a 1 versus 1, it's not a 2 versus 1, it's not even 3 versus 1 or 4 versus 1, because we have these planes coming in, but I think he's going for someone else. But we also have to pay attention to what's happening in Bravo Cap. So there you can see deep water torpedoes, it's the Asashio. And if I keep sailing on this course, I'm going to eat Asashio torpedoes, which can only damage battleships and carriers, and I'm going to eat a lot of damage. So I have to make the decision here that I'm going to have to turn out away from the torpedoes and willingly give broadside to this Montana. I'd much rather eat a broadside salvo from the Montana than eat a bunch of Asashio torpedoes. And we're finding the gap now, and we do get chunked really decent by the Montana here. So that was unfortunate, but that's something that we had to keep our eyes open on what's happening on the battle, because someone's always looking to be able to take advantage of that. So his secondary focus on the Montana, I'm trying to knock out his main turrets because that will mean less damage, and we do knock one out here. I realize at this point that I should be turning away from the Sherman. He's being able to eat a lot of damage up on my superstructure of my ship with the sap. So you can see as soon as I begin to turn away, he switches over to HE. Also probably because he's wanting to set another fire on me again. But we're going to have to deal with that Sherman at some point. We do incapacitate a front turret again on the Montana because I'm trying to fight for my health pool right now. Our secondaries are working over the Montana right now, and we're getting some damage as well as when we incapacitate the turrets on the Montana. But I want to have as much health as possible because I'm going to need it between the Sherman and the Montana here. So there, he only got to fire off one gun, right? And I'm going to get my front turrets on, and we're going to go for his main turrets again. The Sherman has set us on fire, only natural because of how quick reloading his guns are. And we incapacitate a turret again, so you can easily do that here with these 457mm guns against the Montana. And so it was kind of a good experiment, as I wasn't sure if I could, but I really wanted to focus on trying to knock out those turrets because, again, I'm trying to retain as much health as I can. We will have our repair party back up in 30 seconds, and we have our damage control party will be back up in 5. And we do kill the Montana, and now it's a fight to survive against the Sherman. If you want to throw DDs off that are spamming at you at a longer distance, often playing with your rudder shift really helps. So I need to be playing with my rudder. I need to move. I'm just sailing in a straight line right now, but now I'm moving the rudder. And we just leave the Sherman's range at 89 HP. And now we get our heal. So this is what's fantastic about the repair party. I mean, how quick you are able to get it back up. That is what has saved my life multiple times. We do have the, I think it's called, Emergency Repair Expert, that gives you the additional heal and helps you heal last a little longer, a little bit longer consumable action time. And we fire off here at the Sherman. I'm not sure if we're going to land a salvo, but I want to drive him away. So even though we've done 223,000 damage, we are still losing this battle. At this point, I'm realizing that my damage record in the game at this point was 226,000 damage in the Georgia. So I'm really wanting to break my damage record here. And I shared on YouTube that this game I broke my damage record, but we also broke our experience record over 5,000. And we also broke our potential damage record. Not from this battle, sorry. The potential damage record I broke after playing 5 or 6 battles with Ohio. I got 4.1 million potential damage with Ohio. It doesn't mean Ohio's tanky. She definitely can get wrecked showing too much side. So here's one thing I don't like about the Ohio is that the airstrike is only, as we get Confederate, it's only 6 kilometers. And it's really frustrating when you're dealing with submarines. I would much rather the airstrike be 10 kilometers, even farther. Originally, this ship, Massachusetts, Georgia, they didn't even get the airstrike, the depth charge airstrike. Wargaming only introduced that later after they were testing submarines into the game. So that was really frustrating when you didn't have any way to deal with subs in those battleships. So 6 kilometers is better than nothing, but I think it needs to be further. I mean, these are planes, right? Now, this is an important key in how I'm dealing with the submarine and the Asashio player. The Asashio player, he's in low health. He's in the smoke screen back here. We got this sub over here. And I'm focusing on slowing down and staying behind this island. The submarine cannot torpedo me from this angle. The Asashio cannot torpedo me from here. So sometimes if you are trying to throw off an enemy player, so you can see the Asashio, he's reversing out, trying to get some torpedoes on, is that you play around the island, but you don't like show, oh, I'm going to go left side, I'm going to go the right side. You make it questionable. They're not sure which way you're going to go. So we're going to keep using our airstrike, depth charge airstrike as much as we can. After I use it, see the subs coming out here to the right side, and he's too deep for us now to be able to do any damage. So we're going to go ahead and use that. And we're going to be able to follow him with the oil slicks you're going to see on the surface. The Sasho player is being spotted, and he should go down here to the Wooster. I was asking the Wooster if he would come help support and helping me here. I think he got a little salty with me because I was spamming at him, but I just know what we need to win. And I'm very focused. I wasn't even reading chat until I was watching this battle before doing this YouTube video. He just doesn't seem to be the most pleased with me. So I'm just a little focused. I'm not paying attention much to the chat. Because if you get score timer, we still lose. We don't have enough time to make up the difference. We need some kills to bring it back into our control. So we're going to push out now. I'm undetected. I'm thinking we're going to be able to catch this sub off guard. He may have spent a lot of time underwater and running out of the dive capacity. And there he is, surfaced, giving us the Kraken Unleashed in coordinated attack with hello everybody, which I haven't got to even talk about yet. He's going to have a really good game. Unfortunately, we lost our other clan member Doom for grounding on a rock and being punished for showing a broadside in that grounding. So we've broken our damage record. We have Halsey, we have the Confederate, so our reload time is something around 17 seconds, tied with that main battery modification 3. And one thing I'm going to critique myself on here, I should have went ahead and popped my spotter plane much sooner here to get a salvo off against this enemy Hindenburg. But our 2 destroyers, hello everybody, and I think it's the Oland, are able to finish them off. So really good for them. And we get another general offensive, or maybe it's, yeah, second general offensive. So we're racking up a lot of achievements here. High Caliber, Confederate, Kraken Unleashed, Coordinated Attack, Strike Team, and 2 general offensives. So other things to talk about the Ohio here as we push up hunting for the Sherman and the Lexington. I definitely recommend the Ohio if you really like playing brawling battleships, but also accurate battleships. Then Ohio is definitely for you. We had HE loaded there for the dealing with the sub, so AP would have been nice. With Halsey, the reload time, he has an enhanced skill with the expert loader. It's only like 5 or 6 seconds, so I should have switch to AP before firing on this Lexington, because probably now we're going to spook him, and he's going to use the autopilot to move the carrier. So I was really hoping to just wreck him here because he's showing us this perfect broadside. But we get shoulder to shoulder, and we're going to go ahead and fire again. I mean, basically by those times that salvo landed, our guns are almost reloaded. So I mean, if you just watch here, with how ridiculously quick the reload time is with Halsey in that main battery modification 3. 3 seconds by the time that salvo lands 20 kilometers away, and the next salvo is up, right? So we're going to take some pot shots using the mini-map reticle and aiming where he may have gone. It's been a while to get to this. So do I prefer the main battery modification 3 for a faster reload time on the Ohio, or do I prefer the artillery plotting room modification 2 for greater accuracy? I may still be somewhat undecided. Sometimes I feel like I get trolled, like, oh, I should have been able to get the kill here, or I should have been able to get a really good salvo in here, but the shells maybe go just a little too wide. I mean, I've had some salvos even without the artillery plotting room modification 2, where I'm like, wow, like that is just really tight dispersion. Like here you can see the vertical dispersion is actually really tight. And so I don't know, I'm a little undecided. I see the perks of having both. If you're wondering how to deal with a person who humps the border, you aim at the border and then you just lead them. So that's what I'm doing here with the enemy Lexington, is that I'm just aiming along the border, seeing how much he's still moving to the right, which he still is a little bit. So I'm hoping maybe we can get the salvo off on him in time, but we own 3 caps. And 2 seconds, 1 second, and nope. It's like frustrating because the shells on the right side look really good, like we've been able to finish him. So here is our personal score. 277,000 damage. I was really stoked about this. 2 general offenses, strike team, Confederate, shoulder to shoulder, dreadnought, Kraken Unleashed, coordinated attack, and high caliber with 5 kills, a couple citadels. topping the team with over 3,000 base experience. Hello everybody, coming in really good, over 2,000. And you can see that Enemy Sherman did pretty good for his team as he got top with his base experience. So, Ohio, like, this is just a hardcore epic battle I really enjoyed. Here you can see the damage layout. We did take 2.3 million potential damage. Here you get to see, I'll even have in the next slide so you can even see more. Because getting enough damage on so many ships is what gives us the Confederate. So having that 17-second reload time with the main battery modification 3 is quite nice. It's really helpful if that's what you're going for. If you're playing Ohio in the sense that, yes, you want to get in with the secondary battery range, you want to be fighting up close and personal. Like a lot of that fighting we did here on this battle, it was up close for the most part. That Tallinn and Salem, they were a little farther away in Bravo Cap, and then we were shooting at the Lexington pretty far away. So then maybe, the artillery plotting room modification 2 would have been better there for better maximum and vertical horizontal dispersion. So it can be up to you. Sometimes what's nice to me about that artillery plotting room modification 2 for the better accuracy is in World of Warships, in randoms battles, particularly as of late, you really don't tend to have these opportunities to push in the beginning of the battle. Usually it's the first half of the battle. You might be fighting more to the back. I'm not saying the J line, I'm not saying the A line, but I'm saying you're playing more conservatively. Maybe you're trying to get that mid-range to sometimes long range, especially if you're dealing with HE spammers and submarines. So when you're not able to push in the first half of the battle, you're not able to use islands to kind of draw the distance in, then I'm like, yeah, I would rather have the artillery plotting room modification 2. But for a battle like this, we got to the Massachusetts was pushing into us, Alaska was pushing in, the Salem got too close. A lot of them, we were able to capitalize on them being a little too aggressive on this flanks. So then the main battery modification 3 for that quicker reload time was even better to me. So I'm back and forth. Sometimes I love that even tighter dispersion, that even horizontally and vertical. And so I'm really liked and I really enjoyed the artillery plotting room modification 2. So I'm kind of torn. I like the accuracy for sure. Even if you do not take the artillery plotting room modification 2, you still have really good accuracy. Your Sigma is 2.0. For example, on Yamato, it is 2.10. But you're able to shave things down a little bit more, again, with the artillery plotting room modification 2, and taking to make a smaller ellipse circle with your maximum vertical and maximum horizontal dispersion. So I'll talk more about that tomorrow. I think it just depends on the player, to be honestly, and what you feel like the most you're going to get out of it. So yeah. So the record-breaking game in Ohio, it's been probably, it was like 18, 19 months, maybe close to 2 years since I broke my damage record. So to break it from 226,000 in Georgia to 277,000 in Ohio was just fantastic. I recommend Ohio, definitely. I really liked Bourgogne, and I think Bourgogne on the NA server still has the highest damage numbers. I think when you're looking at the score chart, I can't remember if it's highest damage or win rate. With Bourgogne, shaves out Ohio that little bit. Bourgogne being a steel French tier 10 premium battleship. But as far as my first research bureau ship, Ohio, love it. It's really, really good. So I'll put a link up here at the end of the video if you're wondering how to grind research bureau points to pick up the Ohio. I can show you what I did and what line I was resetting and stacking reset bonuses on. So I have a whole video on that, and I'll clip it here at the end. So if you liked today's video, give it a thumbs up. If you did not, give it a thumbs down. Subscribe if you do want to see more. If you're subscribed, thanks so much. I really appreciate it, and we'll catch you next time. Take care.